Can I tell you that I've got you? I finally got you on on my Facebook live recording, which will be going live later. Instagram, guys, just stick around. We are getting right to all of the good stuff right now.
Yes.
And again, thank you for your
ready.
patience. Absolutely. Now, I want to tell you guys that Thara will be speaking to us about the concept, techniques, and some need to knows behind mindful communications. Now, I call it mindful communications because there's so many vast areas that Thara is in this space with. As I mentioned, she is a master Reiki healer. She's a health coach. She is also a yoga teacher, and she has her own studio out in the New York area.
Yeah.
And mindful communications kind of covers all of these areas, and she's going to talk to us now a little bit about what all of this is. And I don't think that there is a better time in history, Thara, than today during this lockdown period that's necessary right now in order for our first responders to be able to combat what we're dealing with, COVID-19, and to just kind of help us get back to a environment within our world that is healthy. And during that time, obviously a lot of shifts are happening. There's a lot of anxiety people are dealing with, and as I mentioned, I can't think of a better time than now for us to be talking about mindful communications and some things that people can perhaps do at home. So before we begin that, I would like to actually speak to you a little bit about allowing everyone to know kind of the space that you reside in, because going from the music business into kind of this space, it's quite a inner journey for a person to have accomplished something like that. So I'd like to kind of maybe give people context and perspective around your journey, and then I want to hit you up with some questions, because I don't know about anyone else out there, but I definitely need your help at this time. So let's talk a little bit about kind of that shift that happened for you in your life from music business to, being in the mindful space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you. And beautiful to go from this space, right, where I met you when I was pursuing my career in the music industry, and to now be able to come back and still connect and journey with you is really beautiful and special. It's always full circle, right?
Absolutely. We're so blessed, my darling.
Yeah. So, you know what? I was really, really lucky to have an amazing run in the music business. And I traveled the world, and I toured, and I performed and opened for people like Neo. I have a record with John Legend. And the music industry is how I met my amazing husband, Jay Sean.
Yeah.
So I'm a true believer that everything that happens has a purpose, and it plays a very significant role in your life, right?
Oh, man.
There's no coincidences as far as I believe. But then I kind of hit this moment where I knew that I had a greater purpose in the world. And I always knew that, even as a singer. That was always really important to me. The message that I wanted to share as a singer, that was always something really important to me. And then
you were actually, Thara, talking about kind of female empowerment, being a strong, feminine avatar way before it became kind of like this pop cultural, everyone getting on the bandwagon type of thing. I mean, like, I remember back in 2006 when we were kind of planning the cover with you, you were very adamant about being presented as a strong, female role model.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to kind of just
strong female role model. I had a very clear image of what kind of, imagery I wanted to be shared. And so I think I hit some walls along the way where I felt like, okay, this is getting harder and harder and harder to stay true to that person who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I had that moment where I had to take a look and say, okay, is this still making me happy?
Right.
Or am I just doing it because I said I would?
Right.
Right.
Fundamental question. Yeah, that fundamental question that we need to ask at some point if we're blessed for that to come into our life, right?
Yeah. And it was a really hard moment because you go all these years of fighting and saying, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And then now you have to turn around to all those people who maybe weren't necessarily on board in the beginning, but now they've been on the journey with you and they're supporting you. And now you're going to turn around to them and say, well, actually, I'm ready to make another shift. And that's hard, right? But yes. I had that moment where I said, I'm not enjoying music the way that I used to because it became my job.
Right.
And I couldn't turn on the radio and enjoy music. And that was
why did you feel
answer.
that? I mean, why did you feel that though? Why did you feel, you know, when you put on the radio, you couldn't enjoy it? What was it that was happening within you that just didn't resonate with what was happening out there in the music business at that time?
You know what? Because when you're not getting to where you necessarily want to get, it takes the joy out of that thing that you love.
Right. Of course.
Right? So I loved music, but suddenly I couldn't hear a song on the radio without thinking, well, why isn't my song on the radio?
Right.
My song is just as good as that one.
Yeah.
Why did that one get picked? Right? And it started to take the joy and the life out of it for me.
Yeah.
And I realized that wasn't what I wanted, right? I wanted to be able to enjoy music. I love music, right? Yesterday I went for a walk and I put on my Spotify and I shifted my entire mood because of the music that I chose to listen to.
Abso-friggin-lutely.
Right?
And on that pace, sweetheart, really.
Yeah. So I didn't want that to get taken away from me.
Right.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
So how did the mindful part come in? Like, what was it? Because
so yoga in the last few years of my music career, yoga had come into my life. Right. And if it wasn't for yoga, you know, in the music industry, entertainment industry, it is crazy. It's chaotic. Everything is a 911 emergency. You know, we need this now, and then you get there, and then you wait 4 hours. So it's like this constant, and like it's a roller coaster, right? And yoga gave me peace.
Right.
Yoga became the only time in my day that I turned off my phone.
Yeah.
And that I actually turned off music, because at that time I was practicing with no music.
Yeah.
90 minutes of silence except for the teacher's voice.
Right.
And it was the only time where I truly shut off. And it was so important. It helped me with anxiety. It helped me manage my stress.
Right.
So then when I decided that I was ready to leave the music industry and take that turn, I went away for 9 weeks and got certified as a yoga teacher.
Oh my gosh. You just make decisions, right, girlfriend?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like within 4 weeks, I made the decision and there was a training happening the next month. And next thing you know, I was in Mexico. It was total insanity, but totally amazing. I knew no one. I went there knowing no one for 9 weeks. There was over 400 of us in the training. But sometimes that's what you have to do, right? I had been doing the music industry for so long that if I was going to leave, if I was going to shift, I had to take myself and immerse myself in something else. And that's what I did. And it was life-changing. I grew so much. I cried so much on that yoga mat.
Oh, those are the best types of cries, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell everyone, you have to, that's why we love the hot yoga room in my studio, because hot yoga and is a little bit dark. So we're like, you can cry on your mat. Everyone will just think it's sweat. It's fine.
I love it.
Yeah. So then I came back and I continued. I got pulled back into the music industry and I started helping Jay. We weren't married yet, but we were together and I started helping him. And, my team became his team. So everyone who worked with me now still to this day works with him. Yeah. So we still co-manage him together with Jeremy, and we got him his record deal with Cash Money Records at that time. And
I remember
catapulted him to massive success.
Yes.
So, I believed that was part of my journey, right? Because everything that I had kind of set up, assuming it was for me, well, it wasn't for me, it was for him, it was for us in a different way. And it was beautiful for me to take all my knowledge and everything I had learned over the years and be able to help him bring his dreams to life.
I just have to tell you, Jay is on right now and he says, keep saying nice things about me.
I love it. Hi, honey.
My
He's
God.
downstairs, by the way.
Oh my God. You know, honestly, Jay, if we were to say nice things about you, like we would be like here for the rest of the week. But I think we need to make it about other people too, darling. Love you, love you, love you.
Aww. Yeah. So
that's
yeah,
kind of,
I helped him on his journey, and then I hit the next space again. I can still remember it. You know, I was pregnant with Ayva, didn't know it yet. So the seed was in my belly.
yeah.
And I had that moment. I was in Florida. I was working on a spreadsheet for a tour that was coming up.
Yeah.
And I called our partner, Jeremy, and I said, this is the last tour that I'm going to work on, because this is not why I was put on earth.
Right.
I wasn't meant to sit behind this computer screen crunching numbers. I'm good at it and I can do it, but it's not what my purpose is.
Right.
And we decided to open a yoga studio. And I said, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to share yoga with more people. We need to help people the same way the yoga has helped me. Yes. I need to help other people. This world needs more help, you know? And that was it. We made the decision. It took a while. It took us 1.5 years. So I was pregnant with Ayva when I decided to open the yoga studio. We didn't open the yoga studio until Ayva was, I think, 14 months. So it took, you know, time to find the space and make it all happen.
Absolutely.
And then we opened the studio.
And where is it?
So the studio is called Fire Shaper Tenafly. It's in Tenafly, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 15 minutes from New York City. And it's a beautiful, beautiful space, combining my two favorite things, which is a spa and yoga.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So I kind of wanted a space that when you walked into it, you really felt like you were taken away from your life for that hour and a half that you're there with us.
Right.
You just escape, because we all need that escape.
Absolutely.
And we created that, and we built a beautiful community. We turned 5 next month.
Yay! I love that.
Very exciting. It's very sad for me right now. I literally drove by the studio last week. And was, you know, my heart was hurting seeing it.
Of course, babe.
Because I do miss being in that space and that community that we've created. But we're doing virtual classes right now, which has been amazing. And thanks to Zoom, we're able to do all these things. And
absolutely.
You know, I really think that there's something special about doing the Zooms versus just posting a video. Because on the Zoom, it allows us to all connect. Everyone gets to see each other's faces. You know, I unmute it so everyone can say hi for a little bit. And then I mute everybody and we teach class. But it's nice. I feel like it's a little bit of a togetherness.
Absolutely.
In this time where we're all feeling very alone.
So can people join any of your classes virtually right now? Or is this just for your clients who are, existed pro-COVID?
Anyone can join. Okay. Anyone can join. It's a small fee. But anyone can join. And then I'm also donating a portion to No Kid Hungry, which is providing meals to children across America. Yeah.
So how do people actually go and join? Like let's
so
put it out there right now.
Online, you can do a lot of people use Mind Body, Fire Shaper Tenafly, just search for it and everything comes up, or you can follow us on Instagram, Fire Shaper Tenafly, and then click the link in bio and everything will come up there.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Yeah. So let's talk now a little bit about other aspects of mindful education that you've done, practices that you've done. Reiki is something that is a big part of your life. Where did that come into the mix since yoga introduced you to kind of the world of mindfulness?
Yeah, so yoga was in my life all these years, and then it's like 19 years now, which is crazy. Then it's like more than half my lifetime, which I feel really blessed because I found yoga when I was very young. So it's pretty amazing. And then Reiki was introduced to me a few times, but I didn't really understand or know about it, which I think is true for a lot of people. Yeah. It's a word that gets thrown out, but not everyone really knows what Reiki is. Yeah. But then I had a friend who got certified So when he got certified and he said he was doing it, I was like, okay, I can try this now with you because I trust you. So I'll try it with you. So Reiki is energy healing. So our bodies are energetic beings. We're all energetic beings, right? And our bodies hold on to maybe past experiences. It can hold on to traumas, things that we've been through in our lives. So Reiki can help to clear all of that. If there's we have 7 chakras in our body. If one of your chakras becomes overworked or underused, we can sense that through the Reiki and we can help to bring it to balance. So it's just another tool, I say, in my toolbox, right? So the yoga is all about bringing the body into balance. And now this just takes it a little bit step deeper, and we can really dig in and really focus on what's happening in the body and help you to, like I say, get lit from within.
Yes, amen to that, sister.
Yeah.
So you're also a health coach. So let's talk a little bit about how you tie all of that into that space.
Yeah, so I've been health coaching, same thing, for over 19 years. I found yoga and health coaching at the same time. I found yoga and food at the same time. I'd suffered with anxiety and different bouts of depression going through high school and college. And then somehow I figured out that when I ate certain foods, I felt really bad, right? And that, yes, if you're someone who suffers with anxiety, the reality is you're probably always going to have a little bit of anxiety. It doesn't just go away. Right? Learn how to manage it. Right? So yoga, meditation, food, those are the ways that I manage it. So the health coaching is huge because people don't understand, like, that's great. You can work out as much as you want, but if you're not putting the right foods into your body, you're not going to see the results that you want.
Absolutely.
And same thing right now, people going through, the joke, the COVID-19, right? People are going to put on the COVID-19. I'm like, no, don't do it to yourself, right?
Yes.
You're trapped inside. Eat good foods to make you feel good because you don't want to feel like garbage. It's already hard enough. Why are we going to add into that? Right.
You need to help me, girlfriend, because I am the person that you're talking about right now. I'm like, every day I go, in the morning, I go on my, weighing scale. I'm like, oh my God, have I gained weight from all the crap I ate yesterday?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, stop weighing yourself every day.
Oh my gosh.
Do that.
And that's a scary thing. That's what creates the anxiety as well. It's
no,
circle that just keeps going round.
Going out.
Okay. So let's talk about this. Now, the conversation has brought us here naturally. Let's talk about some of the things that we can do to make ourselves feel good about ourselves. I mean, you just mentioned 3 of them, right? The 3 different, aspects that need to work as an equation cohesively. So work us through that for those of us who aren't really familiar with how to make that equation work.
Yeah. So start your day with some quiet time. So especially if you have children, you want to wake up before them and have a moment. If you're not someone who has a meditation practice, I'm not even saying you have to meditate, but just sit quietly for 10 minutes. Breathe, feel the ground underneath your feet, and take a moment for yourself. It is so important. I am hosting every day at 7:45 a.m. meditations because people are, they want to do it, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. So I'm using this opportunity as a way to connect with people and give them that gift to help them do it, because it is much easier when you do it together.
Absolutely.
So I've been loving doing that. But yes, so starting your day before anyone needs you, and having that moment for yourself, I think, is really, really important.
That's a great statement, Thara. Like, starting your day before anyone needs you. So, this is your time to need you, to fill the need for you, right?
Yes.
I love that. That's so profound.
Yeah. And then move your body. Right? So whether it's yoga, whether it's just popping on a YouTube video, whether it's getting outside and going for a walk, getting some fresh air, move your body. Energy, it gets stagnant, it gets dormant. You've got to move the energy. Right. It's not, it's not like airy fairy. It's real stuff. You've got to create fluidity in your body so everything can move. So move your body in whatever way serves you.
So there's a question coming up from Ali Hamza 13 that is asking, what should I eat for breakfast?
For breakfast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
that's a great question, right? Because it's interesting. A lot of people, look at the word breakfast and they don't realize what you're actually saying there is that you're breaking the fast.
Right.
Of the time that you're sleeping. So, is it important? Is it the most important meal of the day, or is it not the most important meal of the day? I mean, there's so much out there that we don't really know what we're supposed to be following. So I'd love your take and your advice on that.
You know what? So honestly, I think that there are so many different plans out there. And this is what I'll say. Number one is they all work.
Right.
You just have to find the one that works for you. You have to find the one that works for you, the one that resonates with you. Whether it's paleo, whether it's Whole30, whether it's intermittent fasting, they all work. But which one is going to be easy for you? Which one is going to make it feel like it's not work for you? Which one is going to make it feel like it's not a diet for you? Because you don't want to be on a diet. You want to be on a live it.
Right.
What is going to make you live your best life? So, but I think regardless of what kind of routine you choose to be on, I usually say for your first breaking your fast, the best thing you can have in the morning, and really the only time you can have it, at least in what I follow, is fruit. Okay. So you can have as much fruit as you want in the morning.
Okay.
So, or just as your first meal, even if you're doing intermittent fasting, you can break with fruit. Fruit, the sugars are best used in the morning. One of the biggest mistakes I see people doing is eating fruit after a meal. Right. It causes fermentation in your stomach, and it confuses the digestive process. So the
idea of having fruit as your last meal, because it's, you think you're eating not heavy food, is a big mistake. It's a no-no.
Big mistake.
Okay.
Big mistake.
A lot of us do that. A lot of us do that at
dark
night.
Chocolate.
Okay.
I'd rather see you have a piece of dark chocolate after dinner versus having fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know.
Yeah. There's studies on it. It's really interesting, but fruit digests at a different rate than other foods.
Right.
So if you've just had a healthy meal of, say, broccoli and fish, and that's going through your system digesting, and now you put fruit in, that fish that was digesting, your stomach switches over, and now it has to digest the fruit because the fruit digests faster.
Okay, got it.
And then it creates fermentation because that other food is now sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are walking around bloated and uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. That would
and
be
they're
me.
Wondering why they're so bloated. Even if you're eating healthfully, if you're food combining in the wrong ways, it can cause a lot of discomfort. So
what would you say? I mean, irrespective of what kind of, food lifestyle a person feels works for them and motivates them on a daily basis, what would you say are, like maybe a couple of tips on what you should be looking at, regardless of what diet you follow? Like what are some of the things? You just mentioned one,
Yeah. So start your day with fruit, get those berries in, get those antioxidants into your body. I do a green smoothie. So that's what I have. I just fill myself with all that nutrition, boom, to start my day. Another thing that I love having is I always combine, there's a vegetable with every meal. So if I'm having eggs, I'm going to have eggs and kale. I'm going to have eggs and spinach. I'm always going to put a veggie in there with my protein. Super, super important. Again, great for digestion, because having those vegetables in whatever you're eating is going to help to clear the body out. It's going to help the digestive process to go in and sweep everything. So that's why it's really important to get those vegetables in with every meal. Okay, got it. Yeah.
There was a question that just came in. Why is meditation best done in the morning?
Well, Ayurvedically, they say that it is best done in the morning because of the cycles of the body and the cycles of the earth. But you know what? we can't all do meditation always in the morning. So what I tell everyone is just get it when you can.
Absolutely.
Sometimes for me, that's in the morning. Sometimes for me, it's in the afternoon when I need it as a reset, as a reboot to continue through my day. And sometimes I need it at night to help me to get ready to wind down. So, you know, I think that our lifestyles are very different than when a lot of these teachings were put into place. And I love and honor and respect those traditions, but I also have to adapt them into our world today.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think that's a great piece of advice for people, because oftentimes, you know, we look at these doctrines which, you know, are all working within a context, within a specific context. It's the context that we generally don't really, you know, focus on. We focus on, you know, the rules of the doctrine. And just like you said, now, I mean, you have to find a way to adapt the doctrines to fit your lifestyle. I think that's a really important point that you just brought up. I think that's the case with food, with exercise, with meditation. You know, I think it's really important that people understand that at the end of the day, what works for them as an individual is the most is the right for them, right?
Yeah. I can't really exercise at night. It gets me too wound. Like I get my energy. I'm already a night owl as it is. I would much rather stay up late. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
So then if I exercise, oh my goodness,
forget about it.
You know, whereas some people are fine. They exercise and they go home and go to sleep. So you have to kind of figure out what works for you.
Right, absolutely. There's a message that came in where somebody said that when they have smoothies and salads that they get bloated. Would that be the ingredients that they're putting in there,
yes.
Thara?
Yeah, it could be the ingredients. It could be the food combining. There could be something that you're, you know, even slightly allergic to and not even realize it.
Right.
So you kind of have to scale back your ingredients and figure out, you know, play with it and just put a few things in. It's like you subtract and then add back in and see what works for you. But 100%, you can totally have a smoothie and still get bloated, right? If it's, I once had a dermatologist say to me, because I was using all these organic skincare products on my skin and I was having a flare up, right? And I'm like, I'm using all these incredible products. I don't want to use stuff with chemicals and it's having an adverse reaction, right? And she looked at me and it was so true. She's like, just because it's organic doesn't mean that your skin likes it.
Right.
Right? Like it could be all of those things. So it's the same thing with the foods. It could be, you know, the perfect foods for you, but it might not be the perfect foods for me.
Right.
So you got to figure out what's right for your body. You know, and as we know, even your DNA, your genetics all play a role in that. So I always tell people you have to look at your family history of what your family has always eaten.
That's a great point.
Play a role in how you digest certain foods.
Yeah.
You know, which is why like Indians can eat lots of dal and lentils, and maybe your friend comes over and has the same food and is like, oh my God, my stomach, you know, because it all depends what you're used to eating.
Absolutely. So I guess the takeaway from this is to, you know, look at the various different types of regimes that there are out there for, you know, how you want to prepare your food, the types of food that you want, but be very mindful of whether it's working for you as an individual. So I guess that kind of transfers over also to, you know, your family members, like yourself, of course. You know, you have a husband, you've got 2 kids, you've got 3 other people that you've got to think about in this. Let's go there. Like, let's talk about food, you know, and how we think about food, and the fact that we're all individuals and we are all affected by foods in different ways. How do you handle that? I mean, I think there couldn't be a better time to talk about that right now, you know, and hone in on understanding the intelligence, the IQ, the education behind the science of food, right? Especially since we're home now with our families.
Yeah. You know, up until last year, Jay was still eating meat, and I haven't been eating meat for over 10 years. Wow. So my house was
is that why you still look the same as you did 10 years ago, girl?
Hatha yoga. And
Yes.
food. Yeah, exactly. Right. And just really quickly before we leave that topic, what we were saying about food and all the different regimes, there's one thing that's really simple for everyone to follow, no matter what regime you're on, and that's just eat more whole foods.
Right.
Very simple. If it
Of
came from the
course.
earth that way, that's how, so really minimize your processed foods.
Right. Of
And
course.
that's just a really simple, simple thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you're saying that, because that's what I've actually been doing. I've been focusing on, eating foods and preparing them so they still look like the food. And it's not processed, it's not tinned, it's not fried. But I still, and finally, I've reintroduced myself to potatoes. I'm like, this fad that we had where, you can't eat potatoes, and it went on for like 15, 20 years. And I'm like, sod that. I need to eat me some potatoes. I just need to figure out what the best way to eat it is. So now I'm baking it, and eating it in ways that me as a typical Brit was not brought up to eat it, which is your typical chips. That's the way I've been brought up to eat them.
So get an air fryer.
Yes.
Right? And you can make your air fried chips.
Absolutely, you're right. I got to get myself one of those.
Yeah.
So, how do you prepare for food in your family, being that there's 4 of you, and obviously the needs, wants, desires, and palates, health-wise even, would be different for all 4 of you?
Yeah. So, like last night, I did salmon burgers for all of us. And I had 2 bowls. So one bowl was the bowl for the adults and one bowl was the bowl for the kids.
Okay.
And obviously I'm not going to spice up the kids' salmon burgers the same way that I spice up ours. But we all ate, basically the same meal. Same thing last week. I did I did salmon fillets for Nick and I, but then I did salmon, I call them salmon pizza for the kids.
Okay.
So every kid loves pizza,
right?
But not every kid loves salmon necessarily. So I literally put marinara sauce and mozzarella cheese over the salmon.
That's
and
smart.
They go crazy for it.
Absolutely.
Right? And mommy's happy because they're eating their fish.
Absolutely. So I want to kind of shift a little bit into the fact that we're in these confined spaces for long periods of time, with perhaps too much family time if you speak to some people, not enough family time. If you speak to other people, some people are like, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have to go to work. I finally get to do all the things I've always wanted to do with my family. But then, as I mentioned, some people are really having a hard time with it, right? Because they're not getting to have enough me time, and that shift is very difficult for people. Yeah. How is it in your house? Because I know that you're all together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being that Jade travels a lot, you also are always out and about. You have your own business. There's a lot going on in your space. You have your own community of experts that you work with as well. How now are you guys making that home environment shift work so that you still feel like yourselves? I think that's kind of the key here.
Yeah. So yes, obviously it's a big shift for us as well. Usually I drop Ayva at school every morning, and then I'm out of the house at the yoga studio until I pick her up from school, and then I come back home. Jay is very often on the road. This is like a very long time for him to be home right now.
Yes.
I think the first week he loved it and was like, oh, this is really nice. And now, 2.5 weeks in, he wants to know when he's going to be getting on an airplane. When it's not because he wants to leave us, but because that's just what he's used to doing. That's how he serves his purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? He goes out and he connects with his fans and he does shows, or he goes into the studio, he's making music. I mean, he's not doing that right now. So, he's feeling that. For me, the way that I see it for him is I'm like, just enjoy this time, gobble it up with the kids, because you're going to be gone for like 6 months when this is over.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm like, just make the most of every moment you have with the kids right now for him. I think that communication for us is huge. Yes. Huge, huge, huge. So I tell him what I need.
Right.
One of the biggest mistakes that I see people in relationships making is assuming that the other person knows what you need.
Right.
They don't. End of story. They don't know what you need unless you tell them. So ask for what you need. Hey, I need to work out from this time to this time. Can you be in charge of homeschooling in that time period? Because there's a class I really want to take, right? Or yesterday I needed to go for a walk. I was done. I was wiped after homeschooling, and I needed to go get some fresh air, and not with the kids. I didn't want to take them on the walk. I needed a walk by myself.
You needed me time.
Yeah, and that's being really honest, right? When I take the kids for a walk, it's like I'm not really walking because Ava's on her bicycle, and then she takes a break, and then they want to smell a flower, and that's amazing, and and I love it. And I love her ability to see the world and take those breaths and take those moments. It's beautiful. But yesterday, I knew what I needed was a brisk walk where I was like making time, and I had headphones in, and I didn't have to worry about, like, was everybody okay? I just needed a half hour to myself. So I asked for it. And I said, can you watch the kids so that I can go? And then when I came back, we switch off. You know?
Absolutely. How I want to ask you something, because you're a woman after my heart. We are very clear on the things that we need in order to be sane and to be peaceful and to be healthy and to be happy, right? So you're a woman after my own heart. Our kids, on the other hand, I mean, they don't really have those tools because we generally are the ones that create the schedules. We're the ones that kind of, say, okay, now, they need some me time. They need to eat now. They need to go do this. We create that for them.
Yeah.
How are your kids dealing with that being kind of all the time at home, especially for your daughter?
Yeah, Ava's definitely, so Aaryan's a year and a half. He's fine. Is not like, he's totally 100% fine.
This is his norm.
This is his normal, right? Ava, we're transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
She's 6 years old. She's used to being with her friends. She loves her teacher. So she enjoys being in school, and she enjoys the learning environment. And the past 2 weeks for us has been a roller coaster for her. Yeah. She's been super whiny. She cries at the drop of a dime, right? So I can see that she's feeling it.
Suffering, yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. And I literally, last week, I cried because I got the letter from the school. We knew that they were staying home for a while. We knew.
Yeah.
But I got the letter from the school in my phone. It came up in my inbox, and I read it, and I looked at Jay, and I said, I'll be right back. And I had to come up here, and I sat on the couch, and I just cried. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't crying because of the commitment that I'm making. I was crying because I felt for these kids, and I felt, oh my God, like, she needs to be with other kids.
Absolutely, babe.
She needs to play. Mm-hmm. And like, no matter how much I play with her, and no matter how much
you're not her BFF.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
And my heart broke in that moment when I read that message, And
what have you been doing? Like, what have you been doing? Because
I'll share with you what I've been doing. So last week I could see that she was not happy, and I could see that she was feeling it, and I could see that she needed to let it out.
Yeah.
And I said to her, you know what, Ava? I have a song that I listen to when I want to cry. And I'm going to put that song on, and we're just going to cry.
Oh.
And I did. And I put the song on, and I just held her, and we sang the song, and we cried. Oh. Because, like, they have all these feelings.
Mm-hmm. And she needs to release it, babe.
She has to.
And children oftentimes don't know that crying is actually just as important as laughter.
Yeah.
And they equate crying to being weak or sad, when it's oftentimes more releasing than any kind of laughter that you can have. Yeah.
Right? It's acknowledgement.
I love that you introduced her to that.
Feeling so great.
Yeah. How does she feel? How did she feel?
It was great. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was awesome. I mean, I feel blessed that I can do that with her,
Yeah.
you know? And then the alternative this morning, right? Because every day I can see she's not really enjoying homeschooling with us. I just know she's not.
Yeah.
I mean, we just start and like the body language, the slouching in the chair that's happening.
Mhm.
And I look over, I'm like, Ava, we just started. Like, you got to sit up at the table. Like, we got to approach the day with a little good energy. Because if we start like this, like, where are we going to go? We're going to be under the table before we're done. So this morning, the alternative to last week, I'm like, okay, let's cry. Then last Thursday, I sat down with her and I said, okay, I get that you have a lot of feelings and I get that this has been a big transition, but this is what it is now.
Right.
So you can't whine every day
Yeah.
and you can't throw tantrums every day because that's not going to work for us. So we've all got to try a little bit harder
Yeah.
to work through this. And I get that it's hard and I'm going to support you, but you also have to meet me halfway, right? So if I keep on coddling this, right, it's not going to get better.
Absolutely.
So
And
we
it's
had
great
that
that you
last
address
week.
that. It's great that
Yeah.
you address
So
that
it's
right
a whole,
now.
we got to go through this process. And then this morning, I put on my video camera, not to share with anyone, but I put it on because I want, I put it on for us to look at our faces because we were already downstairs, so we weren't in front of a mirror. And I said, okay, today I'm going to have an amazing day. And I did this whole mantra, affirmation, positivity with her. And we had fun doing it.
Yeah.
Right? We got excited and we made jokes and we laughed. And that's how I started her homeschooling day today.
So do you think that adding mantras during this time is a good idea for people who also have, a lot of different personalities within their space all the time? Do you think that's...
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because
yesterday,
I think this is important. This is a great
the mantras
statement.
are amazing. So yesterday I told her, and it's it's a physicality of changing your state, right? So I made the joke yesterday. Okay, yeah, when you're being a Krabby Patty from now on, mommy's gonna look at you and go, "Oh, someone's being a Krabby Patty," and like, right? It's just silly little things to snap them out of it.
Yeah.
And then she laughs and she's like, "Oh yeah, I am being a Krabby Patty," right? But the initial reaction as the mom who's tired, who's been overworked, who's being overworked, right, is to snap back at her and say, Ava, stop it. We're not doing that right now, right? That's the easy answer. But
yes.
Okay, how are we going to do this in a better way? Because we're going to be here. So I've got to find ways to respond to her being a Krabby Patty that's going to shift her state. So by making it silly, I shift her out of it, and now we can keep moving.
That's a great point to make, actually, even for everyone that's listening out there, is you can either decide to go down a rabbit hole and you can just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and no one wins with that one. Or you can all of a sudden have a psychological shift.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
With some people, it's humor. With some people, it's having a conversation about something that's important to them. For some people, it's probably just sitting in silence, right? Everyone has a different way to deal with, needing to change the current mood that they're in because it's not serving them. So, I think that's a really important share, Thara. A lot of people aren't probably thinking about it because that rabbit hole, it's very easy to just slide right down it. But climbing back out can be very difficult. And a lot of people...
It's like a downward spiral. And there's no point. Because like we said, we're here.
Yes.
Another thing I do is music. So I've mentioned music a few times, but yes, if I find that she is just like, we're not coming out of the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I put on a fun song and I start dancing, and within moments she'll start dancing with me. Right. And these are just fun things that you can do with your little ones to shift the state of the room, shift the state of the house. Then next thing you know, Ari comes running over and he's dancing. And then, dad looks over and he's like, okay, I guess this is what's happening, but it just, you can change the energy so quickly But often I find it takes like a physical move to, you know, get out of that funk.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
we've talked about, taking care of ourselves during these times. We've talked about the kids.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about our relationships with other adults. Let's talk about, relationships with, our significant others. How is that dynamic different for you, you know, now than it was maybe pre-COVID? Because as you mentioned, your lifestyles are such that you're both, being that you're very strong personalities, being that you're both also very independent, people in and by yourselves. Now here you are in an environment where two very strong personalities, I can attest to this because, my son is a very strong personality. So this can be any adult. It doesn't have to be your significant other. It could be other adults in your home. At some point, it gets a bit much. At
Yeah.
some point, it's like, how do you make the balance happen between two very strong and dominant personalities? Because a long period of time with the same people that you're used to maybe not spending that much time with, there's a whole shift happening here, energetically speaking. And I don't
Yeah.
think anyone can speak to that better than someone like you, who is a Reiki healer. Talk to me a little bit about that. Let's help our, communities out there figure out how to deal with that dynamic.
Yeah. I think it
Yes, that
starts.
sigh. I
It
hear the
is,
sigh.
yeah. It's right. It's so big. I think you have to really start with honoring. You have to honor where the other person is coming from. So it starts with that understanding that we're not the same.
Yeah,
Jay and I like to do very different things to wind down.
right.
Very different. So he likes to watch a movie. I like silence. Right?
Yes.
Totally different. So you've got to know the other person and honor and respect the other person.
Right.
So you don't have to, I can't make you, you're not me. I can't make you like the things that I like. I can't make you do the things that I want to do. Right. So I have to give you that space to do the things that you want to do. And alternatively, you have to give me the space to do the things that I want to do.
Right.
So I really think that's why Jay and I have worked together, obviously, for over 12 years. And people
Yeah.
often ask, how do we work together? And that's always, it's kind of the same, right? I have to honor what he brings to the table, and he has to honor what I bring to the table. So I know that he's amazing at playing with the kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can you take the kids and play so that I can make dinner in peace?
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like a crazy woman. It takes me 20 minutes to make dinner. It's
Yeah.
not that long, but if I can have 20 minutes of peace to do it versus like the madness, right? With like Ari pulling my pants off while I'm standing at the stove because it's like hanging on my leg, right?
Of course. Of
Like,
course.
so if we can just help each other, to balance it, I find that makes a big difference.
And that probably makes a big difference then when it's, when it's about you guys, that when it's about your relationship together, if you
And
can
then
give
like,
each other
I know that he loves to watch a show. So
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, once I get all my stuff done,
Yeah.
I'll sit with you and we can watch a show together.
Got
So I
it.
know that he loves that and looks forward to it. Right? Even if it might mean that I'm sacrificing maybe a little bit of sleep to stay up with him and have that time.
Yeah.
You have to, there's, especially right now, because we're just in this, it's, after we had two, I remember one day when we looked at each other and we're like, is this just what it is now? Like, it's just like this madness of passing one to the other, and now you got to go here, and now we got to make this meal, and now we got to do this pickup, and then this drop off, and it's just, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're home, and it's still that amount of crazy, and the homeschooling, and everyone's joking about how much people are eating. The kids are hungry like every hour. Meanwhile, when they're in school, they eat twice. They have a snack and they have lunch, but at home they want to eat every hour on the hour. So it's a lot to manage,
Yes,
right?
it
All
is.
in that space. So understanding, number one, that the day might be crazy and it might be super busy. Understand that. and just
Yeah.
accept it, right? Don't expect it to be anything other than that, but make time at the end of the day to just be together, even if it's for 20 minutes.
Right.
Make time to do something together that you both enjoy,
Right.
to kind of differentiate the time from the rest of the time.
Absolutely. Because there's me time, there's time with the family, then there's time with your significant other, right? I mean, these are all times that are a lot easier to manage when there's a lot of in and out happening in the home, when there's a lot of activity that's happening that's not just, confined to the home. And
Right.
I guess my takeaway from, what you're saying, and I'm also learning as I'm listening to you, Thara, is that, here we are in a day together all day long, day in, day out for the, foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
We have to carve out what the time in that day is going to look like. That's what I'm hearing you say here.
Yeah.
Because the usual lifestyle automatically carves that out, because there's a lot of external, activities that we do outside of the home. So I guess that's where we need to be mindful, is that, what are we carving out and how is it serving us? And that the shift is mandatory. Like the shift in your headspace is mandatory for you to think that you need to do that, because you don't have the luxury of a environment that allows you to be able to step in and out of it, right? That's what I'm kind of hearing you say here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I had the conversation with Jay just after this weekend where I said, we've been a little bit lenient with Ava's bedtime because she's not waking up as early. But we need to get more strict with it again, because that's the only way you and I get our time.
Can I tell you something, sweetheart? Everything that you talked about is so important, so valuable. I thank you so much for taking the time out to, help people normalize this very, abnormal situation that we're in right now. Thank you for taking, your time out and just honoring us with your wisdom and your service. I really adore you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It really means a lot. I want you to know that.
Thank you. It's truly an honor. It was so much fun. We could chat for days, clearly.
Oh, absolutely. And I look forward to many more opportunities to be able to add value to each other's lives. I really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, baby doll.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.